Hey y'all, my name is Jilly and I am 32. I found living water when I was 22. So I had a pretty natural upbringing. I grew up on a ranch. We raised cattle. We had our own chickens, right? It's what everybody talks about they want. Yet as a kid, I was pretty sick. I had pneumonia. I can't even count how many times. Anytime I would get a cold, I was in the hospital. All of the mucus would go into my chest. My grandma was always worried about me because her mother passed away from pneumonia. And so it was always like talked about in my childhood. And as I got older, I was put on ADHD meds, which was Adderall, but I was also on Vyvanse, Dexedrine, Ritalin, and as I got older, I started to party, drink alcohol, and I one time just like 22 fainted in the middle of the night. I was on my cycle. I got up, went to the bathroom, and I fainted. And I have a sister at the time who found me and took me to the ER. And that was the first time I had ever been into the ER, and they just like rushed me in, put IVs in both my arms, and were like, you almost died. You were losing so much blood. And I have O negative blood, which is very common to have low iron, and I was anemic. So, and so I'm sitting there in the hospital, and then they start telling me that they need to do an ultrasound because they think that I have cysts in my ovaries. Well, I don't even know how many hours later they come back telling me that the cysts, there's 4 cysts in my ovaries and they're cancerous, and that I need to get on this antibiotic ASAP, and that I need to get this surgery and that. And mind you, I didn't have health insurance. And I moved out really young. And so I had a friend at the time who was like, you gotta try this water. You gotta try this living water. And so I started drinking it. I personally will say, and to be quite honest, like I definitely didn't, I was like, whatever, I'll drink it. At first I was just kind of like, yeah, resistance. Yet over time I started drinking it, and I had a friend that really loved the taste. So they're convincing me to drink it, right? And I start cleansing. And I had my cycle for about 3 weeks. And for all the ladies out there, it helps cycles a lot. And I went back in to get my laparoscopy thinking that, I don't know what's going on. And they just told me your cysts are completely gone. And my doctors were like, what are you doing? And I just was like, I'm drinking this water. I don't know what I'm doing. And they scared me because they were like, no, don't drink alkaline water. No, don't. Like, that's bad. Like, you can get sick from that. So I went back to the person who gave me the water, and I was just like, what? I don't know. And that's when I woke up to the medical system. And then a couple months later, I decided to get my water system. And I was in college, like, barely paying rent, got my water system instead of paying rent. And then a couple months later, I started hearing about Dr. Corinne Allen's work with the brain. And with ADHD, I was also diagnosed bipolar. And I felt like my brain was like wanting no more medication. Like, I just didn't want medication at all in my mental awareness. And I was on 30 milligrams of Adderall a day. So I got off my medication. Slowly but surely, I started drinking more water. And then a couple months later, I went in to get another laparoscopy, and they were telling me that my iron levels were normal. And again, they tell you that if you're anemic as a woman, like that's like is anybody anemic here or was anemic? Yeah. They like kind of scare you because they're like, you need to take this and that. And so I got really curious about the body, and I started giving this water to my mom. The first month my mom drank it, she lost 22 pounds. My mom's like 5 feet tall as well. I've helped people with Tourette syndrome, autism, and it really put into perspective for me when I got off my medication, because all of a sudden my body started regulating itself. No more getting sick. I haven't been sick. I'm like, where's Chris? Probably like 8 years. And the only time I've gotten sick a couple times from food poisoning, traveling, which also you can take 2.5, and that also helps with food poisoning. But what it did to my body was I started to restore, I felt like my immune system. And then all of a sudden I started thriving. And to me, my cycles were awful before. I fainted multiple times every time I got my cycle. I would get awful headaches. I had awful cramps. And all of a sudden this water comes into my life. And I'm like, why isn't more people talking about this? And slowly but surely, I started sharing it with people. And now I'm 9 years in. And my anniversary of the water is August 21st. So it'll be 9 years in August. And now I have a global business sharing it with people all over the world. So one thing I just stand for so much is the womb and how important it is for women that are doing womb work and that are doing things to be better. And maybe you have herbs and you're helping, yet I've never seen anything else help like this water does. And it's because I feel like our wombs remember. Like, we know that we should be drinking living water. So yeah, that's my story.